In the opening scene, a group of people are seen packaging hard drugs in a house. Suddenly, Terry Savage sneaks in with a gun to steal their money. He succeeds in packing the money but is caught by the police when he exits the house. Upon checking his records, the police find out that Terry is a former special ops soldier who received awards for his service in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Nigeria. When asked why he resorted to stealing, Terry reveals that his daughter is sick and he couldn't afford the medicine she needs. Police Commissioner Harvey Clark offers him a deal to investigate a corrupt warden in a prison and gather evidence of human rights violations or corruption, in exchange for a reduced sentence. Although hesitant at first, Terry is forced to agree after the commissioner reminds him of the potential jail term he faces. Terry bids his daughter goodbye, and Harvey gives him instructions for communication in the prison. Upon arrival at the prison, Lieutenant Killian explains the rules to Terry and shows him his cell, where he finds a cell phone with instructions to use it to send evidence. The next morning, Officer Killian wakes up the inmates in a rude manner for breakfast. During the meal, an inmate spills Terry's food and asks him to bow down, but Terry walks away. Terry later walks around the prison yard while inmates are playing and are approached by Freeway and his friends, who ask him to join their mafia. Terry refuses, insisting on working alone. Later, while cleaning, Terry overhears some Mexican inmates complaining to Freeway about his affairs with the warden. The Mexican gang members attack Terry with knives, but he manages to defeat them. In the cells, the Mexican gang members attack Terry again, but another inmate named Bones helps him. The guards break up the fight and send them all to solitary confinement. While in confinement, Terry reminisces about his sick daughter. In the next scene, the warden punishes the Mexicans who attacked Terry and then apologizes to Terry while joking about his family. He explains to Terry about the private-owned prison and how its affairs are boring. To make things more entertaining, the warden created a fighting tournament called the Dungeon as a way for good fighting prisoners to earn rewards. The warden tells Savage that he could redeem himself through the tournament and gives him fighting clothes. He then sets Terry up with a new roommate, and guard Gina walks him to his new cell, discussing his military career along the way. Inside his new cell, Terry finds Bones, who had helped him earlier. Bones asks Terry to forget about the outside world and learn to first survive the Friday dungeon and offers to help him. Terry uses the phone to report to Commissioner Harry about the warden's dungeon, but Harry requires visual confirmation. Bones trains Terry and later shows him the different prison gangs, including the Black Mafia led by Freeway, a good fighter who Bones had taught. The following day, the guards take Bones and Savage to the dungeon where the warden sits up front, and an inmate welcomes everyone to the dungeon, where there are no rules while other non-participant inmates watch from televisions outside. The fights begin, and Terry records with his phone while the warden watches while seated, and the fans chant down Freeway, who fights two opponents and wins. Up next, Terry and Savage battle El Vampiro from the Mexican gang, known for sharpening his teeth like a vampire. Bones tells Terry about El's fighting style of tackling, and in the fight, Terry defeats the Mexican. Later, the warden offers Freeway any reward he wants after his thrilling performance, but Freeway asks why Bones is helping the new guy, Terry. The warden says it was only at Bones' request, and Freeway reminds him to honor his promise of getting him out for keeping the inmates in check. Freeway threatens the warden that if he can't guarantee his freedom, he too can't guarantee to keep the roommates peaceful. The warden explains his plan of getting Freeway a rematch with the top dog at a different Aurora State prison and promises to set him free if he wins that match. Jeanette, a lawyer at the National Veterans Affairs, visits Terry after being assigned his case to help Terry get freedom since he is not a criminal. However, Terry refuses her help. She shares information about a corrupt system created by private prisons to traffic black and brown humans and asks Terry to reach out for any assistance before she departs. Later, Bones gets Terry ready for his next fight with Z, a formidable opponent. Bones instructs Terry to use more strength against Z's agility. The fight commences at the dungeon, and Terry defeats Z with a single punch but refuses to continue beating him and exits. Afterward, Bones explains to Terry how he was charged with murder while Terry ponders his own life. The next day, other inmates see Terry as a threat, and two of them attack him with knives. Officer Gina intervenes to stop the fight, but one of the attackers mistakenly stabs her and flees, leaving her in Terry's care. The warden thanks Terry for acting quickly to save the guard and his reputation. Terry asks the warden to set up a fight with Freeway. Later, Freeway scolds the attackers for acting without his orders, and the warden calls them all in. The warden orders Killian to execute two inmates for breaking his rules, and Freeway claims he never gave the order. The warden demands that Freeway fight Terry Savage, which he reluctantly agrees to do. Freeway confronts Terry about the fight, and Terry accuses him of being a bully. However, Freeway suggests that they give the real bullies what they want and leave them training with Bones. Terry later texts Commissioner Harry that he plans to fight the top dog one last time and be done with it. He trains intensely while recalling memories of his daughter. In the dungeon, the warden announces the fight between Terry Savage and Freeway as fans cheer. The two exchange blows and kicks, and Savage emerges victorious. Later, Terry sends the commissioner evidence of the fight and requests his release, but he receives no response. The next day, Terry gains the respect of the inmates and the warden flaunts his authority over the other prisoners. However, Terry sees the other inmates as fathers and leaders who have not been rehabilitated by the facility. The warden proposes that he help Terry take control of the prison, but Terry declines. The warden then shows Terry his operation selling hard drugs to the inmates, which Terry considers to be a form of slavery. The warden argues that it's free labor and promises Terry greater rewards. Terry takes some drugs with him but is not interested in the warden's organization, instead only wants to be reunited with his daughter. The warden also shows Terry the bodies of the inmates who previously attacked him. On their way out, Freeway, who was previously ill, wakes up. Later, the warden introduces Terry to Commissioner Harvey, whom he had been texting. Terry is surprised to discover that the two are working together. The warden and Harvey reveal a gambling ring they run in the prison, involving top dogs from different facilities pitted against each other. They inform Terry that he now works for them, but he refuses. They bring in Bones as a backup plan, whom they subdue with a taser. Terry reluctantly agrees to work with them and is set up for a fight with the top fighter from a different prison. Terry and Bones plan to take down the warden and inform other inmates, including their lawyer, Jeanette. Terry gives her a chip with evidence before she leaves. Later, the visiting warden and his fighter, Chaka, arrive from Aurora Prison, and the warden agrees to a $100,000 bet. In the dungeons, Terry starts the fight by throwing the powder he took to blind Chaka and attacking him. But he remembers his daughter and signals to the other inmates to follow the plan, and they attack the guards. The wardens are panic-stricken, and one of them manages to escape. As the police arrive, the warden tries to escape, but an officer shoots down his guard Killian. While escaping, the warden encounters Terry, and they engage in a fight. However, Bones arrives to help Terry. The warden picks up his gun to shoot them, but the police officers arrive and shoot and arrest the warden despite his protests. Later, Jeanette explains to Terry how she used the video from his chip to report the corrupt institution to the law officers. As a result, the state gives Terry a full pardon and takes care of his daughter's medical costs. Terry thanks Bones, who asks him not to forget him when outside. The prisoners cheer on Terry as he bids them farewell before leaving with Jeanette. Terry picks up his daughter from the hospital with gifts and joyfully embraces her before heading home. Eventually, Terry sends Jeanette to get Freeway and Bones from prison. In his new prison cell, the warden curses in disbelief about his situation, bringing the action-packed film to an end. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel.